Once upon a time, a man approached a wise sage, seeking help in dealing with his overwhelming anger and frustrations. The man felt as though his emotions were controlling him, making life difficult to navigate, and he desperately wanted to find a way to regain control. The sage welcomed him and asked him to sit. Smiling gently, he said, "Let me tell you a story. Once there was a wealthy merchant who owned vast lands and businesses. One day, he decided to travel to a distant city known for its tranquility and wise residents. He had heard stories of how the people there lived peaceful lives and had mastered controlling their emotions. When the merchant arrived, he was treated with great respect and was invited to a grand banquet. As he sat down to enjoy his meal, a fly suddenly landed in his glass of wine. He felt a surge of anger and demanded that the servants remove it immediately and bring him a fresh glass. The wise host, who had witnessed the merchant's frustration, calmly said, "My friend, why do you let such a small thing disturb your peace? It is just a fly, and it is not worth losing your composure." The merchant replied, "But I cannot bear even such small annoyances. They ruin my mood entirely." The host smiled and offered a gentle piece of advice. "It is not the fly that ruins your peace, but how you respond to it. The power to control your emotions lies within you. Don't let trivial matters dictate your feelings." The merchant was struck by these words. As he returned home, he began practicing the art of controlling his reactions. He found that by pausing, taking deep breaths, and reflecting before reacting, he could maintain peace even in difficult situations. His mood became steadier, and he made wiser decisions. Now, in a different land, there lived a young woman named Maya. Maya was known for her impulsive reactions. When something upset her, she would lash out in anger, which often led to misunderstandings and hurt feelings. One day, she realized that her reactions were causing her more pain than the initial triggers. She decided to take control of her emotions and not let them control her. She sought out the guidance of an old monk who taught her the practice of mindfulness and patience. The monk explained that the key was not to suppress emotions, but to recognize them and respond with clarity rather than react impulsively. Maya took this advice to heart and began to practice. When she felt anger rising, she would pause, breathe deeply, and carefully choose her response. At first, it was challenging. She still struggled with controlling her emotions, but over time, it became easier. She found that her relationships improved, and she began to approach every situation with a calm and thoughtful mind. People started to notice her transformation, and her friends began seeking her wisdom. One of her friends, troubled by his own anger, came to Maya for advice. He said, "You always seem so calm. How do you do it?" Maya smiled and replied, "It's not about never feeling anger. It's about learning not to react impulsively to it. By choosing my responses carefully, I've been able to build stronger relationships and find peace within myself." Her friend was inspired and began practicing mindfulness himself. Over time, he too became more composed and thoughtful. Maya's life became one of peace, and she learned that by mastering her emotions, she could create a life of happiness and harmony. She shared her lesson with others. By controlling our reactions, we hold the power to shape our lives and relationships. The moral of the story is clear. We may not be able to control everything that happens to us, but we can control how we respond. Mastering our emotions through mindfulness and thoughtful action leads to a life of inner peace and better relationships.